Update. I am Abiodun Mohammed. The former student of a Christian grade school in Nashville who killed 3 9-year-olds and 3 adults in a shooting spree there was under a doctor's care for an emotional disorder and had amassed a collection of guns, the city's police chief said on Tuesday. New details about assailant Audrey Elizabeth Hale, aged 28, emerged hours after police released harrowing video showing officers storming the Covenant School in the midst of Monday's rampage and conducting a room-to-room search before confronting and fatally shooting Hale. Authorities said they were still trying to pin down a motive as detectives pored over various writings and other evidence left by Hale. Hale was armed with 2 assault-style weapons and a handgun, the latest in a long string of US mass shootings that have turned schools into killing zones and added fuel to a national debate over gun rights and regulations. The 3 weapons used on Monday were among 7 firearms that Hale had legally purchased in recent years from 5 Nashville area stores. Metropolitan Nashville Police Chief John Drake told reporters on Tuesday Hale's own parents did not know that Hale possessed multiple firearms, mistakenly believing that Hale had owned just 1 gun, then sold it, Drake said. The chief added that the mother and father felt Hale should not have owned any weapons due to mental health concerns. The mother, on seeing Hale leave the house with a red bag on Monday morning, had questioned what was in the bag, the chief said. Hale, in quotes, was under care, a doctor's care, for an emotional disorder, the chief told reporters during a news briefing without elaborating. Russian forces are relentless in their attempts to capture the bombed-out eastern Ukrainian towns of Bakhmut and Avdiivka, but were not making progress, Ukraine's military said on Wednesday, but a pro-Moscow official said the Russians are advancing. The 2 towns, along with other communities in the industrial Donetsk region, are at the epicenter of Russia's attacks, the General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces said in a statement. Britain's defense ministry said Russian forces had made only marginal progress in an attempt to encircle Avdiivka and had lost many armored vehicles and tanks, but Denis Pushilin, the Russian-installed leader of the part of Donetsk region under Moscow's control, said most Ukrainian forces had pulled back from a metals factory in western Bakhmut and Russian forces were making progress as advanced Western battle tanks began to arrive in Ukraine ahead of an anticipated counter-offensive by its forces. Russia's RIA news agency reported that Moscow had sent its troops hundreds of new and refurbished tanks. External pressure will not stop Taiwan engaging with the world, President Tsai Ing-wen said on Wednesday as she left for the United States, hitting a defiant note after China threatened retaliation if she met US House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. China, which claims democratically ruled Taiwan as its own territory, has repeatedly warned US officials not to meet Tsai, viewing it as support for the island's desire to be seen as a separate country. China staged war games around Taiwan last August when then US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taipei, and Taiwan's armed forces have said they are keeping watch for any Chinese moves when Tsai is abroad. Tsai is going to Guatemala and Belize, transiting through New York first and Los Angeles on the way back. While not officially confirmed, she is expected to meet McCarthy while in California. Speaking in Beijing shortly before Tsai left, Zhu Fenglian, spokesperson of China's Taiwan Affairs Office, said Tsai's transit of the United States were not just her waiting at the airport or hotel, but for her to meet US officials and lawmakers. China is ramping up efforts to develop homegrown semiconductor talent as it seeks to rapidly fill a shortage of expertise that has been made worse by US efforts to limit Beijing's access to advanced chip technology. Enrollment for undergraduate and postgraduate courses have surged over the past 5 years, thanks to new funds for top universities, as well as a boom in smaller private schools focused on shorter-term instruction. Some graduates with degrees in other subjects are being lured into the growth industry at a time when entry-level salaries have doubled. China faces a shortage of an estimated 200,000 industry workers this year, according to a white paper jointly published by the China Center for Information Industry Development, a government think tank, and the China Semiconductor Industry Association, CSIA, a trade group. Closing that gap is growing even more critical as the US looks to cut China off from global supply chains, citing fears that any advanced chips it makes will be ultimately used by China's military. China needs to prioritize training talent even over seeking immediate solutions to its supply chain issues, Liu Zhongfan, a member of the Chinese Academy of Sciences told local reporters this month on the sidelines of a parliament meeting. An Indian tribunal on Wednesday gave partial relief to Alphabet Inc. by setting aside 4 of 10 antitrust directives in a case related to the dominant market position of its Android operating system. The Competition Commission of India (CCI) said in October that Google had exploited its dominant position in Android and told it to remove restrictions imposed on device makers, including related to the pre-installation of apps. It also fined Google $161 million. An Indian appeals tribunal on Wednesday said CCI's findings of Google's anti-competitive conduct were correct and the company was also liable to pay the fine, but it quashed 4 of the 10 antitrust remedies that had been imposed on Google to change its business model. Among the reliefs, Google will now not need to allow hosting of third-party app stores inside Play Store, as had been previously ordered by the CCI. The move will come as some relief for Google after India's Supreme Court in January refused to suspend any of the antitrust remedies ordered last year. The top court had asked the tribunal to hear the case on merit and rule by March end. Following the Supreme Court order, Google made sweeping changes to Android in India, including allowing device makers to license individual apps for pre-installation and giving users the option to choose their default search engine, changes the Indian tribunal did not interfere with on Wednesday. That is the size of top accolade global news updates. You can follow us on our social media platforms as displayed on your screen. Happy midweek.